If you've ever purchased a product because the packaging said natural or it appeared to be recycled, you may have fallen victim to greenwashing. Yep, that's right, folks. We're talking about how companies like Nestle, McDonald's, Shell, and many others are using misleading advertisements to lure us into buying their so-called environmentally friendly products. And we've all seen these ads promoting products that claim to be good for the environment. But let me tell you, it's all a facade. So, what's the truth behind greenwashing? A clever marketing ploy? First, let's define the term greenwashing. When a company advertises itself as green or sustainable without really reducing its environmental impact, this practice is known as greenwashing. It is a deceitful marketing gimmick intended to mislead consumers who prefer to buy goods and services from environmentally conscious brands. Greenwashing is a play on the term whitewashing and was first coined by the environmentalist J. Westerveld in 1986. This means these companies have been doing that for decades now. For example, in the 1980s, Chevron began promoting its efforts to save animals with the iconic People Do campaign, even as the business continued to cause climate change and spill oil in delicate habitats. Similarly, a carbon footprint calculator was introduced by the fossil fuel giant BP in the early 2000s, avoiding the fact that its own emissions were among the highest on the planet. The company also faced criticism for its environmental track record, including the Deepwater Horizon spill in 2010. However, the phrase greenwashing topped headlines in August 2021 when environmental activist Greta Thunberg called the fashion industry out for partaking in the phenomenon.
The most affected people in the most affected areas still remain unheard. And the voices of future generations are drowning in their greenwashed and empty words and promises.
The fashion industry is one of the biggest perpetrators of greenwashing, with brands like ASOS, H&M, and Zara. But do you know how these companies are running their business while greenwashing our brains towards these apparent sustainability goals? Well, it's all because of us. And why am I saying that? Because they know exactly how to trick us with buzzwords, green imageries, and empty promises. As environmental awareness has grown, many people are ready to pay for sustainable goods, and the financial industry has begun to focus on environmental risk. Greenwashing has gotten more sophisticated. According to Greenprint's 2021 Business of Sustainability Index, 75% of millennials and 64% of Gen X customers would pay extra for a product if it came from a sustainable business. One of the common examples of greenwashing is the use of nature-based images, and as the stats say, 1 in 10 customers blindly trust the logos. Some companies even claim that their efforts towards sustainability are better than doing nothing. But this is not enough, and we need real action and transparency from these companies. This company says that they have used a smaller cap that requires less plastic, but the main point is that it's still plastic. This is the classic example of greenwashing, where companies use buzzwords and misleading labeling to deceive consumers. Now let's talk about some of the big names here. Nestle, a company that loves to present itself as environmentally conscious. However, their actions tell a different story. But did you know that Nestle was revealed to be the third largest plastic producer globally in 2018? They produce a mind-boggling number of single-use plastic bottles, contributing to 8 million metric tons of plastic waste that ends up in our oceans every year. So Nestle's green image is a shaky facade that breaks under the weight of these troubling facts. And this is happening in every sector. Shell, a big name in the oil and gas industry, stated in its annual report that 12% of its capital expenditure was funneled into a division called Renewables and Energy Solutions in 2021. However, Global Witness, the activist group, alleges just 1.5% of Shell's capital expenditure has been used to develop genuine renewables. Now let's turn our attention to McDonald's, the fast food giant attempting to portray itself as an eco-friendly choice. Each year, McDonald's buys as much as 1.9 billion pounds of beef that it packs into patties for millions of Happy Meals, Quarter Pounders, Big Macs, and other popular beefy sandwiches served across the globe. The staggering volume of meat requires the company and its suppliers to slaughter north of 7 million cattle, and that comes at a steep cost to the environment. And the reliance on beef production contributes to deforestation, as vast swaths of rainforests are cleared to make way for cattle farms. So it's a far cry from the green image they try to project, generating too many credits, reducing oh so little. And these are just a few of the hundreds of examples where companies have used false or exaggerated claims to create an image of environmental responsibility while their actual practices and impacts fall short of their promises. But you know what the sad part is? Greenwashing not only misleads consumers, but it also undermines genuine efforts towards environmental sustainability. It allows companies to profit from our desire to make eco-friendly choices without actually making any substantial changes. And the fact that companies guilty of greenwashing hinder all the efforts made to reduce the environmental impact of human activity. Moreover, green products are often sold at a premium, making them more expensive, which can lead customers to overpay. So when you purchase anything from a business that practices greenwashing, you're allowing the behavior to continue. And other businesses take notice and take advantage of consumers who want to make a difference, and they try to work on different ideas of promoting themselves as green. Hence, the cycle goes on. Now, you might be thinking how we can identify greenwashing and make informed choices. Take a moment to think about the last time you bought a product just because it appeared green or had a nature-inspired logo. Did you ever stop to question the authenticity behind those claims? No, right? So, first things first, look beyond the labels. Don't solely rely on catchy phrases or green imagery. Dig deeper into the ingredients, certifications, and manufacturing processes. Then verify third-party certifications. Trustworthy eco-friendly products often carry certifications from reputable organizations such as Energy Star or USDA Organic, so look for these stamps of approval. Here we have the logos that usually appear in the product labels. On the left we have labels luring people into thinking that the product is eco-friendly or sustainable, but these are the non-regulated ones. The certified logos are on the right. Be a conscious consumer and do your research. Together we can hold these companies accountable and make a real difference for the environment. Keep watching and keep learning.